Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me! So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? It is All in Football on FTN Network. FTN Fantasy, make sure you follow them. Code ALLIN, get you 20% off. Everything at The Athletic, go check it out. And we're here to talk Week 5 waivers. Hopefully that music made you feel better about your team because, Lauren, it's been kind of a messy start this year. We talk about this every single year, but I ran through just some quick version ADP, and I won't even go through all 10 rounds of it, but you could have had Dalvin Cook, Kamara, Keenan Allen, Kyle Pitts. We're going to talk about Allen Robinson, Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney. You have a billion terrific wide receivers and Dak Prescott, and you can be looking at your team and be like, well, my 2022 season's already over, and I'm 0-4. This is the kind of year. And tell me that would not have been an amazing team. You would have been sitting there after the draft and like, my league is stupid. I'm great.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. In fact, one of my friends is 0-4 with an amazing team, and he's just like, I'm done. So he's trying to move Jonathan Taylor to try to get a whole bunch of pieces to make some kind of amount to come back. But it's weird. I feel like we say this every year about how, you know, it's like, oh, this was a weird year or this was a weird week. But normally when we're looking at the NFL, teams usually kind of have their identity shored up, right? We kind of have a better idea of what their offense is going to look like, how their defenses are going to perform. Of course, that's not a guarantee. We don't ever like that G word. But it's still so nebulous and it's so fluid and up in the air. And it's so hard. Like these starts and sits that seem like a sure lock are sure not. And it's tough. It's really tough right now.
I mean, every year's a weird year. You know what? I was actually going to save this for after our first point we were going to get to, but because you kind of brought me there, I'm going to stick with it real quick. I was going to go on a little mini conversation. It's not a rant, so I don't want to call it that, but I do want to bring up something just for everybody out there, and not coming for everybody and not saying, haha, look at us or anything, but look, Cam Akers has been miserable for anybody who drafted him. And, you know, the context we always kind of give. And I'm taking it on the chin, deservedly so, for Cam Akers. I sat here for months saying, look at how they used him. Look at the usage coming off that injury. We have optimism for Cam Akers, James Robinson, and Sterling Shepard. Those two looked great coming back from Achilles. I deserve the hate for Cam Akers, even though I say don't draft him in the second round. You can still get him in the fourth round. You're still ticked off if you took him in the fourth round. There's other misses like Kyle Pitts. There's other misses like Allen Robinson. And I deserve to take it on the chin. Every expert deserves to take it, expert in quotes, deserves to take it on the chin. You know, people compare us to weathermen all the time, Lauren. Honestly, they're more accurate than we are. Like, we're doing this. No, like, look, they miss. Like, people walk out there, it was supposed to rain today. Screw that guy. I brought my umbrella and everything. I think it's more like mutual funds in the stock market, honestly. But I say that to say this. You know, we could sit here. I could run through the list and go, you're welcome for Barkley and Hurts and Herbert and Pierce and Kirk. And like I could run down the entire list and be like, I got 70% right. That's our job. But I will say this. The reason you come to me, at least, Lauren's a little bit nicer. The reason you come to us is because we do all the work. We do all the information. We gather as much as we can. And we still have limited information because we don't know what the coaches are thinking. And we sit here and give you our opinions of what we've parsed through and try to help you win. We're not going to be perfect. And I'm not saying that to give myself a pass. I was wrong on Cam Akers just like I was on CJ Anderson for years ago. But I will say this. The reason I get a lot of hate, and more so than you, is because what I'm doing right now, as I say this, Lauren, is I'm passionate about it. Like, I do all my work, all my information, and I don't want to give you there are people out there, and I'm not coming for them. If this is your cup of tea, that's fine, but I don't sit here and go, this could happen if this breaks right. We hope so. this could do this if we take your chance if you think so. If you want that, there's a ton of people who have that style. My style is to sit here and be like, look, I'm trying to convince you what I believe is the best call. Either you come with me or you don't. And if you come with me and I mess up, come at me. If I'm, if I do great for you and you win your leagues,
I'm here
celebrate.
For you, Jake.
Right, to balance it out. But no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not saying like, don't come for me. And I'm not saying, haha, I was right about these things. I'm just saying this is the style and this is why we do our job, is because we're trying to do this and give you the best information possible. It's not always going to be right.
I think it's way too early to apologize for Cam Akers. I think that drafting him as early as he went, I think is okay. To feel bad about that if you want to. I just traded for him. I think that he's.
That's the thing. I didn't want to focus solely on Cam Akers because we could do it. We could sit here and do Kyle Pitts. We could sit here and do Allen Robinson. We could do here Matthew Stafford and blah blah blah. I'm more speaking to the fact of how my voice is right now. I'm an impassioned person about my job. And that's my but that's why I'm here. That's hopefully why you're listening to my podcast, this show, and here with Lauren and doing this for years, is because of this is how I bring the information to you, is to try to help you and see my side of it. But you can still sit there. This is why I gave you customizable projections to say, you're dumb, Jake. You're wrong. And do it this way. Or, Lauren, you know what? You could go listen to the people's style who sit there and be like, well, this person could be great if this happens and if this happens, but it might not. And we'll have to wait and see. And hey, if you like that, go for it.
That's how I do it. That's why I'm here to balance you out. I'm here to balance you out.
You have opinions too.
I do. I have strong opinions, but my biggest thing is always go with your gut. Like, just because I say something doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. If I knew what was going to happen tomorrow, I would own Belize or the world, and everything that I want would ever come true. Like, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know, because it sounds fun to say, and I've never been. I've always wanted to go. My husband wanted to get real estate there because apparently it used to be really cheap. Now, not so much. Anyway, the point is that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But you're right. This is glorified, educated guessing. We take the amount of information that we study every single day. We watch every single game. We are working every day during the football season to try to give you the best information possible. But at the end of the day, it is still your team. You have to make the decision on who you start and sit. Just because we say somebody does not mean that you have to put that person in. Go with your gut always. That's how I do it.
That's true. I would own Ocracoke. That's more fun to say. Down in
North Carolina. I just like saying Belize. It's a fun word.
No, because you actually have to take a ferry to get to Ocracoke in North Carolina. So if you head down, Ocracoke, more fun. So if you go down the Outer Banks to Nags Head, Cape Hatteras, and then you have to take a little ferry to get there. But anyway,
that's beautiful. I should go.
It is.
Although
it's worrisome sometimes if they hit the storms, because anybody like North Carolina, everybody worries about us in Virginia. I was like, North Carolina is like our fullback. It sits there, blocks everything. Actually, not even that.
I mean,
if it is.
I mean, I'm on the East Coast of Florida, so like storms come near. We're right by NASA, so like I think they have some kind of weird weather machine that like keeps really bad storms at bay. Because, like, we hardly really get much, although this last storm, God bless everyone who is on the West Coast right now dealing with all of that. That is devastating. A very good friend of mine lost every single thing that she owns, and it's bad.
Yes, it is. So stay safe, everybody, in the weather, and the weathermen hopefully got you correctly. Weather people. Whatever say, you know what I'm saying there.
Weather
folk. And I'm seeing some people that say like I got Akers for 14, or I got 13% of my budget, which would be $13 or $26. And that, you know what, go back in time. That's still, I mean, those are RB2s and 3s you're drafting for anywhere from the mid-teens to low 20s.
I'm not.
And I still would have done it. And I still would have done it back then. But the thing is it's been miserable. But so has Allen Robinson. But so has everything. Honestly, the only thing on the Rams offense that's been good is Cooper Kupp, which hopefully you took him with the first pick, honestly, because Jonathan Taylor isn't paying off. Christian McCaffrey isn't paying off. Derrick Henry's starting to finally pay off. Austin Eckler's finally starting to pay off. Honestly, your first two picks, actually 1 and 2, as of today, should have been Cooper Kupp, Saquon Barkley. By the way, you're welcome for Saquon Barkley. So there you go. But let's stick with this real quickly. Are you dropping Allen Robinson at this point?
Yeah. I think it's safe to drop. I think it's safe to drop Allen Robinson. Yes, it's unfortunate. There's something broken right now with the Rams offense, and he's one of those pieces that is easier to let go of. I mean, obviously, I'm not getting rid of Tyler Higbee. You're not getting rid of Cooper Kupp. Obviously, I mean, I still even have faith in Cam Akers, obviously not Darrell Henderson, but if you need to make room on your bench for this, I mean, with all these injuries that are going on, I mean, it seems like every single week it gets worse and worse. Allen Robinson is one of those pieces that I do not feel bad about sending back into the pool.
Well, and so I think what we're looking at with the Rams is, I'll give credit to the late Mike Tagliere, who pointed out a couple of years ago and said that it's very rare, and it almost never happens, for a running back to finish inside the top 10 on a bottom 10, or I think it was bottom 5 offense. And right now, the Rams are in that conversation because of the offensive line, because of Matthew Stafford and the rest of what's going on. I actually compared Allen Robinson to Darnell Mooney in my waiver column. It's like, sure, I don't want to just let him go for no. Like, don't ever drop anybody just to drop them. Like, they'll be like, I got you off my team. I got you. Allen Robinson's going to get a text message, be like, somebody dropped me, and they're like, oh, I'm so upset. No.
Yeah.
But like Darnell Mooney, like even if he had a good week next week, you probably need to see 2 games now before you're comfortable putting Mooney and Allen Robinson and the likes back in your lineup. But again, it's that offense that's killing them. I'm with you. I don't want to drop Akers because I don't want to drop any running back that's starting, even as miserable as it might be. Like, I don't want to drop Ken Walker, even as good as, like, it's, Rashad Penny's getting all the value, but one Rashad Penny hit, and all of a sudden, it's Ken Walker time. I don't even want to drop Henderson in case something happens to Akers, and it's only Henderson.
Exactly.
Here's the next one I want to ask you about drops before we talk about the people to pick up. I got a lot of this in the waiver column and on Twitter. And I'm surprised, mostly because of the position he plays. Do you drop Kyle Pitts? And exactly, my pushback is this, Lauren. Like, for what? It's tight end.
Yeah.
Like, so sure, Conklin looks good, Everett looks good, like, but they're probably picked up by now. But if they even weren't, Lauren, if Conklin and Everett are out there, would you drop Kyle Pitts for them, or is it just tight end, you know what the upside could be? Because those 2 tight ends are inside the top 7. Kyle Pitts is down in the teens. He has 1 good week so far.
Yeah, it's really bad. He's down really far. No, you don't drop Kyle Pitts. And the main reason for me is you spent way too high of draft capital on him. If you really, really, really need to move him, you're going to have to wait until he has a better game, and then try to trade him and then get another piece at tight end. Because like you said, those guys who have some value are likely already taken. So you can still capitalize on some of that name value from what he did last year and just hope that he has 1, maybe 2 good games. You can keep him then if you want to, because I still believe in Kyle Pitts too. This is a long season. We're just heading into week 5. We're not even halfway through. Everything's going to be okay-ish. But like, yeah, if you're worried, trade him, don't drop him. There's too much value.
I will say, do not drop. If you're 0-4, because you can't afford to go 0-5. It's very rare. Like, I've seen a lot of 0-4 teams make the playoffs. I've even seen a handful of 0-5. But once you start getting to 0-5, it gets really dicey there too. By the way, another shout out. I saw it on Twitter this morning. Another shout out for please play double headers. Put a second game against your league median so you get that balance of, because Heath Cummings from CBS actually tweeted it out. He said top scoring team is 0-4. One of the worst scoring teams is 4-0. I was like, double headers. Play double headers. Get that league median involved. You might not be 0-4. So, but I will say, if you are, take 80 cents on the dollar for Kyle Pitts. You need to win now. Like that's what I say. Like, I don't want to have to do that, but if you're in this position, you need to make moves now. Now you're shooting for upside. And similar to this situation, I'm hoping Ritter comes in at quarterback at some point. I do think it would be improvement on Mariota. But on that note, Lauren, Kenny Pickett is at quarterback. We finally got the switch from Trubisky. So, are we feeling good about Deontay and Najee Harris? Because I put them both in the worry report because things have been a little dicey for them to start the season. Do we think Kenny Pickett is the magic pill that fixes the Steelers' offense?
You know, I'm going to say yes. I don't know if you were able to watch the game or if anyone watching or listening was able to watch the game, but the amount of energy and life that was infused into the Steelers. Well, I do the red zone, right? So like I know, and
I know you're talking to everybody.
I basically watch like the scoring plays, and that's what I do like nonstop. So I don't get a chance to watch what happens really in between the 20s as often. But I did go back and rewatch that game, and that's usually what my Mondays are. I do a lot of research on the games that went by, and you could tell the difference between the Steelers with Mitchell Trubisky in when it was like, oh, holding their breath and like biting their nails, to when Kenny Pickett came in and it was like, all right, let's go, air it out. And the amount of, like I said, life and energy that was infused into that team, I think made a big difference just in the overall morale.
I think it was twofold. It was the shiny new toy syndrome, but it was also in comparison to that team being like, thank you for getting rid of Trubisky and letting us move on to some hope in this team. The reason I bring up Deontay is because the one concern, in very, very, very limited sample, obviously, but Kenny Pickett came in and targeted the living hell out of George Pickens, who we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. Do you have any concern for Deontay because of that immediate usage from Kenny Pickett? Or again, it's a very small sample. It wasn't even his first start. It was just his first step into a game.
I mean, no, not yet. The reason why is Deontay Johnson is more of that volume guy, and I think that what is going to happen is Pickett's going to kind of turn Pickens into like the next Chase Claypool, if you will, because Chase Claypool isn't looking all that great right now. So I don't know.
Hey, you're welcome, everybody out there who don't have Chase Claypool on your roster, because I told you never to draft him in the first place. So there, you're welcome.
Same here. You know what? Go team. And yeah, so I think that I think it's going to be a healthy mix between the two of them. So no, I am not worried, because Kenny Pickett loves to throw, and he's not just going to be throwing to Pickens. Deontay Johnson is going to be getting
rushing
involved.
touchdowns.
Yes, it's going that exactly. That is going to be the nature of this offense. I'm also not worried about Pat Freiermuth either.
Oh, Pat Freiermuth. Yeah, okay. Bring him into the conversation. That's good. So let's stick with wide receivers to start. I know a lot of questions about running backs. Yes, real quick to Alexander. Pick up Pickett in a super flex over out. You didn't even need to finish the rest of the question. Super flex, start a quarterback at the second spot all the time. Even if it's Kenny Pickett. Even if it's Baker Mayfield, you might. But here's the thing. No. Well, here's why. I'm going to stick with what I said. Always start the quarterback, because it's basically your flex. Like, you could sit there and say Baker Mayfield's not better than starting Jamar Chase, obviously. But who's starting Jamar Chase in your flex? Who's starting, a top 20 running back in your flex? And so, yeah, comparatively, the quarterback's not better in that case. What if it's
like a dynasty or something where they've got just like a load of huge, crazy good players?
Okay. Lawrence, can I have a second podcast for the 0.07% of you that have that conundrum in your dynasty superflex leagues that you're overflowing with talent?
Embarrassment of riches.
So that'll be a separate conversation. At wide receiver, would Pickens be? I have Pickens. We've been sitting here on the show. It's been in the waiver column. Said pick up George Pickens, pick up George Pickens, pick up George Pickens. Not quite the Khalil Herbert, but Michael Gallup's still out there in a lot of leagues. Alec Pierce is still out there in a lot of leagues. So of those three, I go Pickens, Gallup, Pierce. Do you go the same order, or do you have a different opinion? Oh, you just muted yourself.
Yeah, I did just mute myself. How'd that even happen? That was really weird. I literally accidentally clicked the button. That was really weird.
I know you clicked the button as you did this. It almost looked like you touched your neck and muted yourself.
I know. I thought I was going to cough, so I was kind of like, ooh. And then sorry about that. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I blanked out there. All right. Pickens, Gallup,
Pierce.
Pickens, Pierce, Gallup.
So you go Pierce over Gallup.
Yeah.
Reasons?
Yeah.
Continue.
I'm thinking, all right, so...
Explanation? Or do you want me to go? Do you want to see if I can talk you back around?
Here. I don't have a ton of faith in Michael Gallup. I'm worried about that injury. I don't know what's going to happen when... I don't know what's going to happen when Dak comes back. I don't know. It's such a toss-up for me. I think really whoever's available, I think I might snag out of all those three, because I like all of those three. So I'm not saying that I don't like him meaning Michael Gallup, but I'm just wondering, no, you know what? I think I would put Pierce in the back, because I don't trust Matt Ryan. I had to work through that.
As we come full circle on that.
I had to work through that. So yes, I agree with you.
Well, this is you just actually opened the door to your mind and working through the process. By the way, not having the 101 pick and taking Jonathan Taylor, Matt Ryan was the person who was, if anything was going to stop Jonathan Taylor, Matt Ryan, congratulations on stopping Jonathan Taylor of repeating as the number one running back. We knew it was a likelihood, given this history of football and fantasy. We knew the likelihood was Jonathan Taylor wasn't going to repeat, but I mean, for who it might be, nobody, myself included, with my love of Saquon Barkley, was expecting Saquon Barkley to be the one to unseat Jonathan Taylor. Actually, as of right now, it's Nick Chubb. It's Nick Chubb and then Barkley. for everybody out there, just as a reference point. So continuing down the wide receivers. By the way, I do go Pickens, Gallup, Pierce. I think the usage for Gallup in that first game back was telling that they feel he's okay. Similar to, and we're going to talk about J.K. Dobbins, despite the fact that he's not in waivers. So we talk about that when they come to running backs. It's interesting that they kind of played the long game for both of them, and then they both come back and boom, lots of use. Wide receiver, not of the big three. There's a lot of names here, and it's a very, very tight group of players here. That's why I kind of grouped them all together. Zay Jones is still out there in a ton of leagues. He got hurt. He was, missed, but he should be back this week, and I think that's part of the reason people didn't pick him up too. But Jacoby Myers, same situation, had been the number one for the Patriots, is hurt. Tyler Boyd, still sitting out there. Tyler Boyd is just, I feel like this point is like you either want Tyler Boyd or you don't. But Josh Reynolds, we saw how good he could be if both of them are out, but if one or the other, Amon-Ra St. Brown or DJ Chark comes back, Josh Reynolds. Rondale Moore comes back and immediately steps past Greg Dortch. That wasn't a Wally Pipp situation. Josh Palmer, Isaiah McKenzie, Kadarius Toney, and Corey Davis. Do you have 2 or 3 from that entire group that you like more than the rest?
But honestly, with Zach Wilson back, I don't mind Corey Davis. So that's one of the things we saw that was a trend last year with the Jets with Zach Wilson, was that how much he loved Corey Davis and how much he loved Elijah Moore. So I like Corey Davis out of those. I think the other one that I wouldn't mind picking up if I could would be Isaiah McKenzie, but that one is a little bit more of a stretch. But out of those last 3 that you mentioned, I'm going to take Corey Davis.
You don't want to play what I jokingly joked about. Jokingly joked? I mean, that's redundant. Jokingly mocked on Twitter last week when people are like, somebody has to catch the ball for the Giants. And it's like, no, somebody does not. But
no, they don't.
Kenny Galladay's, well, here's the counter argument at this point of like, why not Kadarius Toney? Because we've seen what he can do if he get on the field. And Kenny Galladay's now hurt.
I want production. I haven't been able to see what he can do on the field. What has he done this season? Like, honestly, I don't know.
Not this season. He hasn't done anything.
See, there you go. So what have we seen him do? No, I'm done. No more Kadarius Toney for me. I'm out. No, thank you at all. I'll take Wan'Dale Robinson when he comes back healthy. There's no way I'm touching Kadarius Toney.
It sounds like he's further behind, though, which is worrying me.
Whatever. I'll take Corey Davis.
Hey,
no way.
Odell Beckham visited the Giants yesterday. Odell Beckham was back in town. Yeah, you didn't see that report? I thought he was in the Bahamas. No, he came back and visited the Giants. He's still a few weeks away for everybody. Yeah, he's still a few weeks away, and yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting, though.
I'd rather take the banged up arm of Matthew Stafford over Daniel Jones. You know that, so
yeah.
But, I'm not stashing him. Let's talk running backs because that's where the bigger news is right now for this week. Tyler Algier stepping in for Cordell Patterson. We saw Caleb Huntley get most of the goal line work. And Damian Williams is sneakily coming back maybe this week or 2. So, are you all in? Hey, all in football. Are you all in on Algier? Or do you think this is going to be more of a mess than we hope?
I think this is going to be more of a mess than we would like to see. So, no, I am not all in on Williams. I don't like it. I don't like this Mariota-led offense. It's fun to watch. He's fun to watch, but for fantasy football, this is not fun. So I'm avoiding. I'm avoiding that situation.
What if you're desperate for running back?
Then I would go Algier.
What if your number 2 was Michael Carter because you went wide receiver heavy? Would you blow your number 1 spot on Algier?
Maybe.
You gotta give a yes or no. Like I started the show with. Confidence here. You need to help these people, not a maybe.
Yeah, I think. Well, but there's more context to that, right? Like, you have is Michael Carter your RB1? Is that what we're saying?
I said 2. You're not even listening to me.
I'm sorry. There's a lot that I'm processing all at one time when you're throwing out names and all making me think really hard on a Tuesday morning ish. Yeah. Okay. So. In that situation, I would rather have Tyler Algier over Williams. So, yes, if you are replacing someone like Michael Carter, I think you can go with Tyler Algier because I think that with his youth and what he has been able to prove, I know it was a slower start. I think his season finish is going to be better than Williams. So then, yes, I would go with Algier over Williams to replace someone like Michael Carter.
Would you replace Cam Akers in your lineup and start Algier in week 4
No.
or 5?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
No, I
You're not benching Cam Akers for Algier?
No.
Interesting. Wow.
Not yet. Not yet. I might regret this, but not yet. I still have faith in Cam Akers. The Rams that we saw last night, the rivalry between the 49ers and the Rams is like dirty and deep and gross. All right. It is heated. It's a mess. It's a dogfight, as both of them said. It's like filling up the bingo card there. And I don't know. They didn't look right. This is mostly Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. So I just don't believe that that's the Rams offense that we are going to see moving forward as much. Yes, they have a lot of work to do. That offensive line is atrocious. But still, I do believe in Cam Akers. I do believe in what he is able to do. It's just a slower start than I would like. But I still have faith in him. But no, I'm not. I mean, are you saying would I drop Cam Akers for Tyler Algier, or would I bench Cam Akers for Tyler Algier?
Bench.
Okay, bench I would, but I'm not dropping Cam Akers to pick up Tyler Algier.
Okay. So Brian Robinson activated for the Commanders. I've had him actually in the waiver column to make sure that nobody dropped him, because he's still sitting out there in about 50-ish%, maybe about 45% of leagues. Wow. It's interesting because here's the deal. Antonio Gibson, and this is why I said to go grab Brian Robinson. 3 weeks, it was concerning. 4 weeks, it's even more concerning because the snap count for Gibson down, all 4 weeks.
What's the snap
count
over recent week? This one.
It was in the 40% range.
Yeah, okay.
Here's the interesting part of it, Lauren, is that the snap count in the passing game has been pretty consistent in the fit. It's gone up and down, and then it went down the past 2 weeks, but it's not bottoming out. Kind of like his overall snap count is bottoming out. It was down to 40%. It's basically gone like 60, 50, 50 to the 40 range. The passing game has been basically in the 50s, kind of bouncing around. The goal line use has pretty much been bouncing around. So those two factors haven't. It's just the overall snap percentage. Brian Robinson's coming back, and here's the interesting thing. Do you know how many times Antonio Gibson has fumbled this year?
Once. None.
0. He has not fumbled a single time this season so far through 4 weeks. Brian Robinson activated. The concern level is extremely high for Antonio Gibson. How many ducks? And then here's the interesting one, Lauren, is not only give me how many ducks. Actually, you know what? Give me how many ducks for Antonio Gibson, and then I have the follow-up question.
Okay. How many ducks for Antonio Gibson? I'm at a solid 3 and an egg already.
I gave him 4.
Okay.
So there you go. So
but next week I'll be 4. This week I'm only at 3 and an egg.
So the snap percentage, I actually have the numbers because I put them in the tweet, is 64, 54, 44.
Okay.
You would say 34, but no, it was 38 last week. And then the pass snap percentage, 58, 61, 58, 52. So again, it's been... So I gave him 4. Here's the question. People have slim benches. Would you make the swap of Gibson to Brian Robinson? I know the context is please drop somebody else. You don't want to drop running back. Please don't. But I've had surprising amount of questions where my bench is thin. I only play in a 14 bench. Our league is please stop and play in 14 benches, and please stop playing in leagues where you're limited on how many of a position you can have on your team. I hate those formats. If you like them, go right for it. This is my passion part. Again, please stop playing in these dumb leagues. But anyway, people still do it. So for the people out there who have slim bench option choices to make, Brian Robinson over Gibson going forward is the question.
Yeah,
are you saying yes?
To do it. Yeah, it sucks. I don't even like saying it. Just like you said, it feels gross. But yeah, if you're in that position, you kind of have to because you're looking rest of season. You got to look at who's going to finish where, and the writing is on the wall here already that this is not Antonio Gibson's backfield. So you want to take the guy who's likely is.
See, look, I mean, like, I have to drop one. Brian Robinson, Cam Akers, George Pickens, Slim Bench League for Sanstra. Ugh. Although I do agree with Phil Mike. These are communist leagues. Stop playing this nonsense. Thank you. Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, make it tougher on your league mates. Make it tougher on the people who just don't know what they're doing. Make 6, 7, 8-man benches and stash all these guys and laugh at everybody else as they're holding on to the J.D. McKissicks of the world who, hey, maybe I can start them during the bye. So... that's a situation. Brian, answer that one. I know this is very specific just for Sanstra here, but it's a good example here. You look. This is what you're dealing with. Brian Robinson, upside, unknown. We saw the usage in the preseason, and it looks like the Commanders want him to be the lead. Even if so, it's a committee backfield. Cam Akers has been miserable. Is a split backfield still. Pickens, tons of upside to potentially be a top 25 wide receiver. These are way 3 different opinions. If you only had to drop one, Who would you drop of those three?
I think I would have to take a look at his roster, but in this situation, I would drop Cam Akers.
Really? After all that?
I think as much as I love Cam Akers here, every single team, every single roster is different. And not every answer is a one-size-fits-all for every single team that has that player on it. For this particular choice, when you have a slim bench, you have got to get guys that have upside here. I want to know who your other running backs are, because obviously if Cam Akers is a droppable asset, then he's not one of your main starters. He's probably a flex play. So then, yeah, you're just moving out one piece to put another one in, because he's going to pick up, you said Brian Robinson, right?
No, I think this is just a drop. I think it's having all three, and you have to drop one.
Okay. Well, then if you're only going to drop Cam Akers if you're picking up another running back that can immediately start and play. Other than that, I think you might have to get rid of George Pickens and just
it might
hope
be an
that
activation type situation too.
And also just make sure that George Pickens doesn't go through the roof with Kenny Pickett. That's the biggest question mark, in my opinion, out of all three of those. So it just depends on who it is that you need to put on your bench. In my opinion, is who you can drop.
And don't forget how much people in your leagues love the shiny new toy. Look at Romeo Doubs. I mean, just immediately, even before last week's game, which looked good again. It's 2 games, very small sample. Maybe he continues to carry top 20 value, which that's basically what he is right now. But the floor is it continues to be more of a mess, and maybe Christian Watson finally catches on. Christian Watson has a high ceiling too.
No pun intended.
Yeah, so there you go. Catches on. The thing is like, maybe Dobbs stays wide receiver 18 rest of the year. But if you can flip him for somebody like Keenan Allen coming off an injury, if you can get him for Michael Thomas who just missed a week, like, I'm not saying definitively do these, but people always see the shiny new toy and get excited, especially when they're young, especially when they're rookies on top of it, because we've been spoiled by the Justin Jeffersons and Chases of the world. So I'm saying this to say, like, don't give away Dobbs. Don't give away George Pickens. But if George Pickens goes off in Kenny Pickett's first start, finishes with 6 for 100 and a touchdown, people are going to be throwing tons at you to try to get George Pickens. And that's why, for your situation, I love some Cam Akers too, but I would drop Cam Akers for George Pickens, like that kind of situation, if you have running back options. And
if you're in a league that trades, some people don't have leagues that make active trades.
Yeah, I know.
I'm only in 2 that actually do trades. The other ones are like, no. Like, what? And then people just veto for the sake of vetoing. Like, why are you doing that?
The vetoes shouldn't exist. Every single league that I play in is it's immediate processing of trades. Immediate. They go through immediately. So I'm in all the leagues I'm in, Lauren, all of them. I've had 3 trades, and one of them is the flex leagues. I've been involved in all 3. Like, nice. Be more here. Sidebar real quick. Here's the thing with trades, and this is what I try to tell everybody every single year, Lauren. And I think you're going to agree by the sound of it. People are look. And it's inherent. It's human nature. People are lazy. And here's the perfect example. It's like, I'm going to compare it to working in a restaurant. If anybody's ever worked at a restaurant, or you ever been to a restaurant, if you ever notice people sit there a lot of times, what's good? What should I get? Tell me what people want to be told. This is why we have jobs. People want to be told what they want and want to do. It's true. It's human nature. This is not like a slight at anybody. If you're the person who doesn't like to be told, you're in the minority, and good for you. Be bold. But people were like, what's good on this menu? Tell me what I should buy. Like, tell me what I should get. Like, and people
sometimes there's a local favorite that you're not aware of.
No. But let me finish my comparison so you understand the context. So the reason is people are lazy in the trades. They want offers. They want to trade. They just don't want to do the work of looking at everybody else's team. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Be the active manager. Go out there and put trade offers out there, because that's how you get deals done, is by being the active one, putting in the work people don't want. Do you know how many times people I've seen just offer trades and it gets accepted like that? Because people are like, oh, look, I could do this. But they're sitting there just waiting for how many leagues, everybody out there, are sitting there watching people put players on trade blocks or saying, I need help in this, and then they don't do anything, and they just wait for the offers to come in. So that's what I'm saying. That's my comparison, and that's why I was making the example.
I hate trades. I absolutely despise them. I like doing them because I try to be as fair as humanly possible when it comes to trades. But people who ask me trade questions on social media, I hate it. I absolutely despise answering.
Everybody at the end of the show, send Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren all your trade questions.
I won't do it. I mean, like, and some people, and then like I have one person who like constantly asks me trade questions, and I'm like, you do you. I'm done, because then they're immediately arguing with me. And I'm thinking, then why did you ask me? Every single team is different. Every single league is different. I just traded away Pat Freiermuth to get Cam Akers. Like, you know, if I would have put that out there, I'd be like, is this a fair trade? Who won? I hate that. No one should win a trade. You guys are both trying to make your teams better. It drives me bonkers. And then, like, literally, I get a dissertation on these trades. I'm like, I'm not looking at it. No, too long, didn't read. I'm not, no. It depends on your league and your team. That's it. Like, done, the end. I don't care what you do. Just don't come to me with trade questions, because I'm over it. The end. Can you tell I've had a rough couple of days trying to deal with trade questions?
I think everybody out there is just sitting there with like stunned, like that emoji with like the eyes, like, oh wow, like
yeah, sorry,
because like it's been a while since we got like spicy, salty Lauren. That's
I know. It's just it's so irritating.
As a reminder,
I would take that trade. Like
okay, at Stepmom Lauren, if everybody wants to send her your trade questions immediately, do so now. While you're listening to this show, just bombard her, because just nonstop trade. Actually, don't even know that. Say, I made a trade. Do you think it's good? Give me a grade. Everybody send your
thumbs up emoji. I'll just be like, good job. Like, no, I'm done with trades. I can help you with starts and sits. I can help you with waiver wire stuff. I cannot help you within a league that I have no idea who's in it, who's anyone else's roster looks like.
Lauren, here's my favorite. Here's my favorite. I have blank and blank at running back. Who should I trade for?
Yeah, I know. Like,
Saquon Barkley. Go trade for him. Here's a question for you, Lauren.
Like, jeez.
Here's a question for you. Are you ready to pivot off Chase Edmonds into Raheem Mostert?
No.
That's this. Really?
Not yet.
Really?
I'm holding strong. Holding strong.
Are you digging your heels into stubbornness or of like?
I think it might be.
Okay.
I think it might be just because I'm too stubborn to
I told you I don't want anything to do with this backfield, but we're heading towards a reminder. Everybody, start to get prepared. Start to look ahead. It's week 5. I know. Start looking at your roster for week 6, 7, 8. Buys are 1 week away.
Yes.
Also, a reminder. We have another London game this week,
yes.
Giants and Packers, as another reminder.
Oh, man, I got in my switching out Alvin Kamara just in time. Whew.
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to sidebar for a second time real quick. I'm going to ask you about this. The context on the Kamara situation. I don't want to spend 40 minutes on this. I already said my piece on Twitter, and we actually covered it on the Athletic podcast as well. The quick version was, as much as I sound like I'm an asshole, like, let's be honest, I do. That's why I'm all in heels.
This is why I love you, Jake.
This is why, like, and it's. I always love meeting people in person because they're like, wow, Jake's so nice in person, like, because I have that persona. I understand it. This is why I embraced it. I tried to fight it for the first couple of years and be like, I'm not really like this, but now I embraced it.
He actually is a very kind person. I can attest.
That's what I said. So what I said it was Michael Florio of NFL, good friend of mine. He's the one that tweeted this out and said, hey, if you're on the West Coast, if you didn't know, blah, blah, should you be able to swap out Kamara? And this was like at 10 o'clock, 9:30, like the game started, but not far into it. And I said, I tried the quick version. I try to understand and put myself in everybody's shoes. I know that's crazy to think about that I actually do this, that I'm not a cold-hearted bastard. But, like, people have families, people have lives, people might be out at church, people might be on the West Coast and haven't woken up yet. And the reason I said this about Kamara is it wasn't game time decision. Game time decision, I'd be more understanding of the people who want to be hardcore, screw you, the rules are the rules, you're screwed. I get that, and I get wanting to win. But this was Kamara's questionable, should play. Every single report was should play.
Yes.
And then you wake up, potentially not even woken up yet, Kamara's not even playing. And So I said, it's the 9 a.m. game. This isn't 1 o'clock. This isn't a night game. This is a different situation. It rarely happens like this. It's almost like I compared it to COVID. It was kind of like one of those, oh my God, Monday Night Football's happening and now there's a COVID situation. Nobody could have seen this coming.
Right.
So I said, let's be understandable. Were you on that, or were you on, you missed it, you should have been up, you should have set an alarm side?
No, I'm all about that. I mean, I'm East Coast, and I'm the one that gets to sleep in even more. I was just having a nice Sunday morning rest, and then I felt, because I was up at like 7 a.m. I fell back to sleep literally 9:22. I'm like, oh my god, what? But no, but again, it's the same thing. Church, families, kids. I mean, should play. I know I'm just repeating everything that you're saying, but I agree with that sentiment 100%. And if you're in one of those hardcore leagues, then I get it. Then set an alarm. If you have him in there, or just take him out if you're that concerned. I don't know. But I think in the casual, the home leagues, the bar leagues, I think that there needs to be a little bit of wiggle room there.
Even in the high stakes, this is about fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I agree with that. And it's just it's difficult. Like
Rushman just said, "Sorry, I'm setting an alarm for 2 a.m. tonight to vulture all the drops. Fantasy football is 24/7."
Yeah, that's what you should do.
And there are people like that. By the way, this is where I want to go next. Lee Ving just brought it up. Murray actually looked pretty good. He looked a little bit better than Mark Ingram. But Mark Ingram doesn't have to worry about Latavius Murray anymore. You want to know why? Because speaking of vultured, yeah, the Broncos went, ooh, you know what? Maybe he did look pretty good. Let's bring him in. So the Mike Boone I originally had up there with right behind Brian Robinson. I originally this week went Algier, Brian Robinson, Mike Boone. Because the Broncos' backfield is going to be a split. Melvin Gordon's not even 100% healthy right now.
No,
the Latavius Murray's
bad.
And that too. The Latavius Murray thing, I think, is more about Melvin Gordon's health for this week at least. I don't think he's going to come in and step past Mike Boone for this week, but I do think it's a long-term concern for Mike Boone. Are you going after Mike Boone on waivers, or is this one of those situations where, you know what, instead of going to grab Mike Boone, I'll either watch and wait and see who people drop, or I'll stash Isaiah Pacheco or Ken Walker or Jalen Warren and let somebody else go aggressive on Boone while I just stash the upside guy?
I am going aggressive for Latavius Murray for rest of season as a split backfield with Melvin Gordon, who is likely going to be seeing as many touches as Javonte Williams did, is just not going to be as good with him. And I'm going to start him if I get him in any of my leagues in the flex position, because I inevitably believe he will score a touchdown like Latavius Murray normally does. So I am going after Latavius Murray, and I am starting him and not hesitating to do so.
Do you remember 2021 when Latavius Murray looked like this?
Yeah, but then wait, hold on. 2021
last year.
For the Vikings, right? Where was he playing last year? The Ravens. Where was he playing? Was it someone purple? I can't remember.
Is it someone purple? Someone purple. I'm gonna wait until you figure this out. Think back.
Oh, God, I gotta look it up.
No, you're not allowed to look it up. I want you to figure it out.
I can do whatever I want.
No,
oh my God.
It was someone purple. I want you to make the choice.
See, there you go.
Who was it?
Come on. I already guessed.
It's the Ravens. It was the Ravens.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
That's what I'm saying.
The Ravens. Everyone who goes to the Ravens goes there to like running back die.
No, that's what I'm saying. He was in a great spot. He was in that Tyson Williams was going to be a savior, and then Le'Veon Bell comes in, and Latavius Murray comes in, and Latavius Murray, I think, had like one decent showing, but then just like, again.
But it's a completely different, so it's a completely different situation. Yeah, the Vikings were a long time ago. Sorry, brain fart on that. I knew it was someone purple. So the Ravens have a completely different situation, though, when it came to that running back room. What? Anyway, they have a completely different situation when it comes to that running back room.
He's worn a lot of purple and black. He was the Raiders, then the Vikings, then he was black again with the Saints.
Yes.
And then he was the Ravens, and then he was the Saints again.
Like
so black.
He's like the Ryan
black.
Fitzpatrick.
This is his first blue and orange team. He's getting two brand new colors.
Oh my God! Then he's guaranteed to score a touchdown. He's going to be amazing now. It's just new colors. No, I think the situation it works out very well for him. He did very well with the Saints behind Alvin Kamara, don't forget. I do like what he did with them. I do like what he's able to do. I do think that they're going to give him the volume. Like I said, he's not going to be nearly as good with it, even as Melvin Gordon, I think, can be if he can be healthy. But I think he's going to see enough volume that with the disparity that we have with running backs available on the waiver wire, I think that you could do a lot worse than Latavius Murray, and I like him. I'm going after him.
Okay. New colors, maybe fresh pep in his legs for a 73-year-old body.
He is like the Ryan Fitzpatrick of running backs right now. And I don't know why I blanked why he was with the Ravens last year. Maybe because
he's
he
like
just
800 years old. So
many teams.
would you go Latavius Murray or would you go Nyheim Hines, who might be, now this is a multiple level thing here, is Nyheim Hines is not going to be a bell cow. Like, for anybody, let's be clear. It could be Jaden McKissick, like with Washington, where, hey, you get RB2 value because the uptick in touches gives that little bit more of consistency, a little bit more opportunity. But likely splitting with Deion Jackson. They have Philip Lindsay of the practice squad, who they poached.
Yes.
No, there's your Ryan Fitzpatrick, by the way. Philip Lindsay, I think, has played for 75% of the league at this point. But do you go Nyheim Hines, who could be just a 1 week fill-in play? Jonathan Taylor sounds like he should be okay. This is a Thursday night game, so probably going to hold him out for this game. Do you go Hines, or do you go Latavius Murray? Or do you go, back to what I said, do you go Pacheco, who looks like he stepped past McKinnon now?
No, I'm still going Latavius Murray. I'm still going Latavius Murray and what I believe that backfield is dictating that he needs to do, and the opportunity that he has, and the volume that I believe that he's going to see. So I'm going to still go Latavius Murray rest of season, because just like you said, Nyheim Hines is going to maybe be a fill-in, splitting work, and he has a very specific identity in that offense.
Here's a perfect example, and I'm not saying come for Lauren if she is wrong, but you can feel come for me if I am wrong on this. This is a perfect example. Like, we're on opposite sides here. I don't have any faith in Latavius Murray at this point. Lauren does, clearly. So there you go. This is.
I mean, it's not a lot. No. But I do like
we are talking versus Mostert and Nyheim Hines. We're not talking like versus, Saquon Barkley.
McCaffrey.
Latavius, yeah. I mean, honestly, Christian McCaffrey has been kind of miserable this season so far.
Yeah,
well,
but
for Christian McCaffrey,
only take one game.
He's still a top 20. This is what it is. It's like still a top 20 running back. And like, again, it's the perception. Christian McCaffrey right now is Austin Eckler from week 3. Really, look at what happened with Austin Eckler in week 4. It was like panicking about it. We just talked about it last week. All right, pivot to worries as we get out of here. I brought up Gibson, Najee, but let's talk about 3 wide receivers real quick. 2 wide receivers. We already talked about
brought up
Deontay
Najee?
Johnson.
When did we bring up Najee?
In the whole the Pickett situation.
Got it.
Yeah. So DJ Moore, you could have felt really good about DJ Moore. Remember saying this, Lauren? I said it. I think everybody in the entire world, football, even the soccer world, Ted Lasso, I think even said it. It can't get any worse than Sam Darnold. And yet, somehow, I don't know if Baker's ever heard the phrase "football is life," because I think he sucking his life for Baker Mayfield.
Oh, it's so bad.
Is DJ Moore droppable with Allen Robinson?
Oh my God. This is a situation where try to move him if you can, but if you got a slim bench, I think he might be. But if you can move him, try to move him first. But if you have to, you have to. He's DJ Mooring us again. And I hate that. So is it a DJ Moore problem, or is it?
Oh no, it's a Baker Mayfield problem.
It was a Sam Darnold problem. It's been everybody else's.
Yeah,
fault
but at least with Sam
Darnold,
DJ Moore was finishing as a top 24 wide receiver for 3 straight years. He just wasn't scoring touchdowns.
Ugh, God. I mean, I've tried to move him before you drop him. He's kind of my last resort drop, but that's gross. That whole situation is really gross. I'm glad I have no shares of DJ Moore, just because the only piece that I believe in on the Panthers offense is Christian McCaffrey. Otherwise, I stayed completely away.
So as we get out of here, Michael Pittman. Any concerns with Michael Pittman? Who, hey, you know what? Carson Wentz is gone. Matt Ryan can't be any worse. Might be an upgrade. I never said that, to be clear. But a lot of people did.
I thought he would be.
Michael Pittman, to be honest, it's 2 really good games. Actually, 1 really good game. Another solid game, but this 2 weeks of because he got hurt in week 3. So it's actually it's 2 weeks of okay performance. 1 terrific week 1. Everybody's like, Michael Pittman's happening. This is what we signed up for. But then week 2, injury. Week 4, both those games kind of Are you concerned at all for Michael Pittman as we get out of here?
A little bit, not too much though. I'm at like 1 duck and an egg. I'm keeping my eye on it, but no, I'm not freaking out yet. Okay.
Speaking of keep an eye on things, keep an eye on Stepmom Lauren, at Stepmom Lauren, for all your trade questions and more. Keep your eye on this show. We will be back tomorrow with Chris Meany to talk Week 5 rankings and such, and debates and all that type of thing on FTN. 20% off with code ALLIN. At The Athletic, you want to drop into the comments and tell me how stupid I am. Go do it. Tweet me at AllinKid. Tell me I'm really stupid. And we'll see you tomorrow.